Hey yo, what's happening? Well, it's Secret Literacy. Well, we're just gonna talk about some like a really good facts about the history of the old times that California used to be the province, the Tarascan, and a super terrestrial state. So I'm gonna have to talk to you about the like someone that you can ever tell is the history of the Alta Californias. They've been there for a very long time. They've been there for like few centuries. And also, old California has been there for several centuries before. And many of them, last, it was used to be like Tarascan State, where all those Native American people have been lived there for such a arrival, where all these people that have been born there, you know what I mean? It's a very good acculturated place that ever here was the old California, where all those Jesuits and Spanish speakers that have been come from, where New Spain has been revolted as a great place that have been expanded since like a 1500s. Well, it's where like this place that have been have been are the they have been have filled with all those villagers, missionaries, and the Franciscans, and plus the Catholicisms and Dominicans. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of good theories to think about how history comes out the world in California. Well, speaking of this, there has been like many years when they were exposed like with one of those best places in the world. But you would never. That's when before like when Donald Trump elected a president. This is when before the '80s when it became so much expanded with Cold War. This is before like the World War II. This is before like Civil War. We're talking about like the old school places of the California has been in the history of the Alta California, but as long as you can see, like right now, when since all the Jesuits have been expelled, they usually formed as the Las Californias because the Las Californias has been there for many years, and plus Alta California was the only place they have for the first president, which is also known as the governor, who has been there for many years when New Spain have been arrived for all the flag that has been represented for many years. When California was born. This is when California was before when they joined the Union as the United States. As you can see, is that's when before the gold rush of the 49ers. But you might see what people have been the first president that you've seen in the first time of the Las Californias were and the Alta California were all these hood looking those hideout states before they become as statehoods. Well, it's all like California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, and plus there was Colorado, and sometimes New Mexico was been exposed before, and plus some of the certain areas like Wyoming or in Idaho and some certain places that they're in the bigger sides of the area. You can see that where that's next to Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota, because that's where Las Californias has been formed, especially Alta California, as a formal independence. You know why? Because Alta California has been at a prophecy, and the Las Californias has become as a terrestrial prophecy as well too, because it's their prophecy, independence, republic. It's all like New Spain, Las Californias, Alta California. Three categories altogether. That's where representatives. That's been all about since like 1767 when they declared independence after the Jesuits has been expelled, since they've been very extremely disappointed by the Catholicisms and the Christianities because they've been have a lot of Negroes before. They've been have a lot of Spanish people before who are the Californios, and especially with the Indians, also known as the Indios, and plus the Native Americans. You know, there's been a lot of them before because they've been have lots of haplogroups that have been involved in this science that haven't all together. But haplogroup X is all about the Native Americans because Native Americans have been lived there in California for many years. Haplogroup A is all about the, let's see, I would say it's the mestizos. No, no, not mestizos. It's the mulattoes because they were like from Mexicans or whatever, which are like those black Hispanics that had been around here before since for a long time. Haplogroup B is all about the mestizo because I'm part of pretty much of that color of that skin right there, but wasn't that bad in that culture. But and haplogroup C when they made out together before that, so look about Españolas because Españolas have been there for many years for a while when they have like people of the New Spain have been representative for all together what they have, especially if in the Philippines. And you can see where like the viceroyalty of the New Spain has been represented all together in the category before they have been expanded like Texas, Mexico, and the rest of the Union. But you don't see what the matter is that when the viceroyalty of the New Spain, have been many years since like the 1500s before they expelled out by 1824 because have been declared independence in Mexico since the 1820s, and because the reason why they want to have to get their own Mexicans and copy one of their California colors, because the reason why they want to get more extreme culturized and they want to get more culturized to copy them, like, and then also copy their culture that had been there for many years was Dia de los Muertos and or certain others what the Californios have been done to the culture, like holidays and any kind of stuff that can to put up to, because the reason why they have been done for many years when they build up as missionaries. They've been build up some churches, like 21 of them. Like there was many of them, like the one that's in San Gabriel, San Jose, San Antonio. There was at Monterey, Loreto, and there was one at San Diego, Los Angeles. There's many more missionaries, because also known as churches, you know, because if you see all of them in real life, you see all those Spanish schools and sometimes like English schools. It's hard to gather around how Native American can speak. You're really good at Spanish. It's hard to figure out, but English can be pretty much a very good sample, but you just need to give them a good sample for Native Americans, because you need to give us a lot of good languages to learn up to, so that the missionaries can give you a big hope. And for some new hopes, to find some discoveries like wine, milk, and plus hamburgers, fries, potatoes, and sometimes fruits. They came from like California, and sometimes vegetables they came from California as well too. You know, like animals that we have around here, like chickens, cows, and plus there was I don't think Timberwolves and Coyotes are part of California, but I don't remember. But I know bears have come from there before, and I know there's many good animals that we used to see, but they don't have them that much in the California farm when they have like horses there. But but there's a lot of many animals who represent in the California for when they have their own there, especially for like all the places that they've been at, those animals they've been have there for most of the certain reasons, because you know why? Because they have to distribute much better for food or any kind of stuff. And plus wine was the only the stuff that's discovered since the 1830s, when the Californians go to work, they get so much paid for the for the wine, because a lot of people say there was one thing that was happening in the whole area of the Alta California, they discover when they try and make one of their liquidification stuffs before beer, they make some one of those fruit stuffs that can create things that you can, something that's alcoholic, some things that you can get drunk, something you can get drink something like something very sweet like champagne does, but they represent it as like this logo like this. You know why? You know why that's important? How Napa Valley 1839 that was come from? That's because some person who really owned the place before in Napa. Napa is the only city that has been discovered everything about the wine, because Napa Valley and the rest of the cities, they can create everything what wine it was come from. You know what I mean? And I know there's a lot of and also horns are also discovered in California too, because those are the stuffs they came from the ground. You know what I'm saying? And some fruits and vegetables can be discovered in California too. So you gotta pop up the hints, see where that's come from, because it ain't Lewis and Clark. So you gotta figure it out where you're supposed to have to follow in, you know. And plus, there was no such thing as wildflowers, because wildflowers came from Oregon. You know what I mean? Or somehow places they can give, or Christopher Columbus. I ain't looking that shit. Well, as you can matter, you can see the first president that you see is the Gaspar Portola. He's the first president of the Los Californias to build many missionaries, many discoveries, and plus he has been have to help to give a new hope for the people, to bring all the missions as churches, the villages to build in together. And sometimes roads can gather up together, like riding horses or any trails they have to walk in for walking. Well, if you're part of the owner of the city, well, there's a gather ways that you need to follow up, because I know there's a lot of Native Americans that have been packed in California, but there's some of them there's like less people around here, because the reason why there was just some certain cities that haven't been formed in before. But if they did form then, well, here's the thing. If there's many of those governmental people, like who are like Franciscans, they have to take their everything what the governments want. If they just want to have to deal to get in for attention, you just want to bring all the systems like Sierra Gorda or Junipero Sera, because you know Junipero Sera she's the greatest discovery person who has the most generosity in her California's life, because in her way they put it on the split up for each like countries. They had to cut it up in half of the Las Californias, between which it is Alta California and Baja California, since they were not even treated since during the war that happened between the early 1800s, when they become as Baja California and Alta California. Well, it's been many years when they have some issues, but the capital that has been there before was Loreto, because they even have some certain years when they have here before the Los Californias, then it was Monterey. Monterey was always the great place to have here before. But the capital of Alta California is everything that's going to be like a greatest place you ever live. But you might know all these great cities, but San Luis Obispo was a blessing church right there. But don't discover this, because if you haven't been like this before, the most of the blessings of the capitals, it's almost close as the Sacramento's, because Sacramento's is like one of the biggest cities that they haven't built in before. They built in by the Americans, and I just don't know why Americans can build. I'm like, like Native Americans and Spanish people, they can do whatever they want. They can do whatever they wanted for money when they have to build more cities or all kind of stuff. Because, architects is just more important in here, because they just want to have this country to put everything what they needed. Especially have to build wagons.